No, please. We've got two of them.
Sure, we can share.
Just sharing that. Okay, well, if you'd like to first introduce yourself, welcome to, and thank you for coming to speak to us this evening. If you'd like to introduce yourself, and then just 5 minutes or so on your perspective on this particular decision would be very useful.
Fine, thanks. Well, good evening. My name is Pauline Adenwalla and I'm chair of the Canada Water Consultative Forum, an organisation that was set up in 2000 to consider all the major plans and policies relating to the regeneration of the Canada Water area. In our opinion, the decision to proceed with expensive consultation on the preferred site for the new Canada Water Leisure Centre is premature and jeopardises further meaningful consultation on the wider master plan. I would very briefly like to explain the story so far relating to the community's aspiration for a new pool before detailing the reasons for CWCF's view that the decision is premature. Background. The residents of Canada Water area have been campaigning for a new state-of-the-art swimming pool for over a decade. The promise of an Olympic-sized aquatic centre with transparent walls abutting Canada Water Basin by BL Canada Quays and their vision for the area was a major factor in the community selecting them for the Canada Water Master Plan contract in 2003. Alas, the Aquatic Canada Quays 2003 scheme. The community were very hopeful that their aspiration would be fulfilled when BL acquired 100% interest in Surrey Quays Shopping Centre and Harmswood Quays sites and commenced their master planning exercise in 2013. The community's optimism was further interest in moving a faculty to a portion of the former Harmswood Quays printworks site and providing leisure facilities for the community as well as their students. High-level conceptual consultations with the community. However, in spring 2015, BL announced their acquisition of the Mast Leisure site, and as a consequence, they would be reviewing their master plan ideas as their land holding in the area was now over 45 acres. The new master plan would be subject to consultation in autumn 2015. Hence, there was considerable surprise within the community when in July 15, CWCF happened upon the LBS issues paper regarding a preferred site for the new Canada Water Leisure Centre. Councillor Williams confirmed in July that LBS had indeed identified a preferred site within the 45 acres. The site was Surrey Quays Wildlife Area, abutting the London Underground rail lines and tunnels, next to Hopfield Place, Highgrove and China Wall Mews dwellings. People were incredulous. The community's opinion was that this was the most inappropriate location for their long-awaited and much-needed community facility. Not only were there likely to be major construction issues, the impact on the adjoining residents and the destruction of the Surrey Quays wildlife area was totally unacceptable. It was also a departure from the Canada Water Area Action Plan. Figure 24 clearly shows the landscape buffer to the 3 streets. The community are also of the view that to legally ring-fence a preferred site and the related rerouting of roads, etc., in order that buses could pass by the preferred site, imposes serious restrictions on any further consultations and discussions on the wider British Land Canada Water Master Plan, to the call-in of the report. As already stated, proceed with expensive consultation on the preferred site is premature and based on a somewhat broad report and jeopardises further meaningful consultation on the wider master plan. Our reasons for reaching this opinion are as follows. Lack of evidence as to why LBS preferred the site. There is no appraisal and comprehensive evaluation of all the alternative sites that were considered or may be available in the near future. There is no supporting evidence in relation to the minimum requirements for the leisure centre as set out in paragraph 9 of the report, that the elderly, disabled and school children have been consulted as their needs, i.e. something like a hydro pool has been considered, that existing accessible leisure provision in the area outside the AAP has been analysed, and that users across all 5 wards have been consulted on their requirements. Evidence to support how the estimate of 400,000 users per year of the new facility from across the 5 wards has been calculated. Evidence in the report in relation to other swimming pool and leisure facilities accessible to the residents of the 5 wards, namely Livesey, Riverside, Rotherhithe, South Bermondsey, Surrey Docks. Exhibit C in that I've handed out shows the area that we're talking about in the context of Southwark as a whole. Evidence to show that residents of the 5 wards will use the Canada Water Leisure Centre as opposed to other facilities, i.e. Elephant and Castle, Greenwich, Lewisham and others that are in the pipeline. To date, there's been no public consultation on the preferred site proposal. Without this information, it's not possible, in our opinion, to make a judgment. TfL are notorious for protecting their infrastructure. LBS would be unwise, in our opinion, to legally define a preferred site without a formal undertaking from TfL that they will agree to the rerouting of buses along the rear line Deal Porters Way. There is no information in the report in respect of the timescale and costs for rerouting and reinforcing Deal Porters Way. Should such an agreement from TfL be forthcoming. There's no evidence that TfL have been in agreement that such a structure as a swimming pool could be built so near to the overground track, tunnel and ventilation shafts. The response to CWCS FOI indicates that LBS have had little consultation with TfL on this subject. Pedestrian access routes for the predicted 400,000 users appear to be via Hotfield Place, turning this very quiet residential cul-de-sac into a major pedestrian route. The report is, in our opinion, misleading in paragraph 18, describing the vegetation to be destroyed. The preferred site is the established Surrey Quays wildlife area, see Appendix Exhibit A. The preferred site is also part of the green corridor, see Exhibit B. Lack of transport consultation. To date, the Canada Water Master Plan public consultations have been carried out solely by British Land. They have been at a conceptual high level. No consultation on either the location or specification of any particular building has occurred. A leisure centre in the preferred location is likely to be airless and have very little natural light, quite different from the current Seven Islands, which has floor-to-ceiling windows on both sides and overlooks the garden. To determine the location of a large and very important community leisure building and rerouting roads at this early stages imposes unnecessary limitations on any further consultation on the wider master plan. There is no evidence in the report in respect of the ongoing running of such facilities. LBS tends to lease out such facilities, usually to Fusion. If this is so, then it would seem to be at odds with the statement referencing the Cabinet report on the 18th of November, which talks about parameters for negotiations with BL as being the Council will require the site in its ownership for a new public leisure, including the pool. There is no evidence that other options have been explored, such as contracting B, British Land, or A, another, to build and run such a facility in accordance with LBS policy. What LBS policy states that LBS do not want to have dwellings and commercial units above a pool. Lewisham, to name but one local, and Greenwich, to name but a couple of local authorities, seem to have successfully achieved this arrangement. It is therefore questionable that it is vital for LBS to decide on the preferred site before entering into an LBS British Land Development Agreement. Value for money and departure from the AAP. There is no evidence in the report as to why it is not value for money to rebuild on the current Seven Islands leisure site, or that it is not possible to continue to operate Seven Islands whilst constructing a new pool alongside the existing pool. The Seven Islands site has been home to baths for a very long time, and the site has a very large ground floor internal garden and courtyard, which is a similar size to the existing pool. The Canada Water Area Action Plan, figure 24, indicates that the landscape buffer of the Hotfield Place and residential properties. Why has there been this change? And the AAP also states that we would extend the life of Seven Islands for up to 10 years. So there's been quite a change in AAP policy, and this was not mentioned at the EIP, which occurred not so long ago. We therefore reiterate our contention that the decision to proceed with expensive consultation on the preferred site is premature and based on a somewhat flawed report. Such a decision would, in our opinion, seriously jeopardise further meaningful consultation on the wider master plan.
Thank you for that detailed description of your position. I'd now like to ask the residents who live next to the existing leisure centre site